always find myself thinking that writing can only happen in the cultivated, quiet, perfectly curated, slower seasons of life. But life hasn't really been like that for me lately. Between working 2 jobs, health issues for both myself and my husband, hospital visits, exhaustion, and just trying to hold everything together, somewhere along the way, I just stopped writing. And honestly, I've kind of stopped feeling like myself too. But lately, I've been trying to push against those feelings. I have been feeling this pull to come back to it, back to writing, back to the things that I enjoy, back to my creativity, and back to myself. So in this vlog, and for the rest of the summer, I'm going to try again. I might fail, it might not work, but I'm going to try again. Come along with me over the next several weeks as I go on a journey of rediscovering who I am, what I want to do with my life, how I want to spend my time, and what I'm willing to put effort into. I know that we all tend to lose ourselves somewhere along the way. We get lost in the busyness of life, and suddenly so much time has passed. Well, I'm going to spend the next several weeks taking back my time, taking back my energy and my creativity, and doing the things that I'm passionate about. And I hope that you'll come along with me. I keep putting this pressure on myself to come back fully formed, fully productive, ready to jump right in and write consistently and post every week and finish a draft immediately. And as time goes on, I'm just realizing that that's not the point. I don't need to come back perfectly. I just need to start. I just need to try. This week, I have really been focusing on starting off strong and just getting the summer going, reestablishing my habits, and getting myself back into my usual routines. Last year, around this time of year, I had established set routines and created my habits and was consistently writing and getting a lot of words in and finishing and working on so many projects. And I'm really trying to get myself back up to that and just trying to take it 1 week at a time. And this week I know is a week of starting again and beginning and just getting myself back into that mindset. At the start of the year, I had a lot of lofty goals and dreams and ideas about what I was going to be able to accomplish this year, how many words I was going to write, and what projects I was going to be working on. But as the year has progressed, I have shifted gears and focus and have decided to focus on different projects than what I had originally anticipated. Right now, I'm mainly focusing on my Forgotten Kingdoms series. Book 1, I am currently drafting draft 2 of that book and going through and reading my alpha comments on draft 1 and just figuring out what the differences are going to be from draft 1 into draft 2. At this point, I've kind of learned that everyone has their own way of doing things and not everything is necessarily right or wrong. It's just finding what works best for you. And for me, shifting from draft 1 into draft 2 has looked a lot like doing a lot of rereading and looking at alpha comments and just making notes on things that I want to change. I decided that I wanted to rewrite the book into first person POV from third and really just kind of shifting the focus of some of the later chapters of the book and really expanding on it. The first draft of The Hollow Crown was only 45,000 words and I feel like there's a lot more story to tell. So I have been working on creating a new, deeper outline and just really figuring out where I want the story to go and how I want these characters to grow and change and the story I want to tell. So like I talked about in my intro, I have just been feeling kind of disconnected from my writing and from the creative side of my brain, and I just have not been feeling the motivation to do much of anything. And I feel like I just keep waiting for the perfect time to come, for things to slow down, for me to feel like writing or feel like brainstorming or doing anything really. I haven't been reading much either. So I just keep waiting for the perfect time. And I think I'm finally getting to the point where I'm realizing that that's never going to happen. There is no such thing as the perfect time. And I just have come to the point where I realize if I keep waiting, I'm just never going to do anything. That is what I'm going to be doing this summer. I am going to spend the next several weeks just trying to reorient myself, kind of calibrate my life and all the things that I'm doing and the things that I enjoy. And so I thought that I would bring you guys along with me, showcase that and bring you guys along on that journey on this channel and show you guys how it goes and the ups and downs and the real life moments and, everything in between. So this is going to be the first episode. This is going to be me coming back to writing and trying to reset that momentum and that pace and come back to myself and really just start strong. So yeah, we will dive right into this new series. It is Thursday now, and if I'm being honest, this week has not been magical. It has not been some grand jump right back into where I left off. It has been tired, and I've had a lot of responsibilities weighing on me between meetings at work and a lot of changes happening at work and some new health things that are creeping up with my husband. And it's definitely not like anything in my life has suddenly become easier, but I am still pushing through. I am doing the best that I can, and I came into work early today so that I would have extra time to sit and put some music on and just get to work and get some words in and get some writing done. So far this week, I have been able to revise 3 chapters of The Hollow Crown, which, while not as much as I would have liked, is still a decent start and a decent jumping off point to getting back to where I was. Okay guys, so it is Thursday now. It is, I don't even know, it's about 5:30. Nick is at dialysis, and I have been sitting here doing some work, getting some words in, rereading the chapter that I'm currently rewriting for draft 2. So you can see Dobby over here. He wants to play, and while I'm trying to film, of course. Yeah, I've had a good day today. It was a busy day at work. I had several meetings that I needed to get through. I didn't really get to do anything like personal or outside of work at work, but I left and I went to the library. I had a couple of library books that I needed to return. I got a couple of new books. So yeah, that's my little update for Thursday. Like I said, work was busy, but I was able to come home after I went to the library since I already did get a couple of chapters done, and I'll see if anybody's sprinting and maybe I'll hop in with them tonight and get a little bit more done. But yeah, that is my Thursday update. I will see you guys tomorrow. Good morning, friends. Welcome back. It is Saturday now. It is about 7 a.m. I've been up for about an hour and a half, and I've had a pretty productive morning. Probably the most productive Saturday morning I've had in a while. I got up, made myself some coffee, of course. I managed to, as I was doing my writing and everything this morning, which I'll talk about in a second, I managed to also film and capture the footage for a new vlog. Or it's not really a vlog, a new video I should say, that will be coming up. It should be the next video you see after this one. So I got that done. That just needs to be kind of edited and put together, which I think should be a pretty easy video to edit. So that'll be the next thing you see. And I have had, like I said, a productive morning. I went through and was able to check off, I'd say 5 or 6 things off of my master editing list. I started to think that maybe I need to change the way I was approaching things. I've been feeling really stuck lately, as you guys know, and I've been feeling some kind of resistance to writing. And I know some people do not completely rewrite their draft for draft 2. They have their original draft 1. They basically create a copy of it and then just kind of edit what they already have. Some people, and this is the recommendation that is given in that book, Refuse to Be Done, that I'm reading. The author of that book talks about completely rewriting the book in draft 2. So essentially starting from a blank page. You can kind of reference draft 1 at using draft 1 as kind of like a loose outline, but you're not repeating the same words. You are completely rewriting it. And obviously everybody does things differently. And I thought that completely rewriting from a blank page would be my answer because I was changing the POV. But as I've been kind of going through that list and working on draft 1, or off of draft one, I think I've kind of come to the conclusion of what I'm going to do and how I'm going to move forward, and see how that feels, and see if I feel more motivated and not as like overwhelmed. I guess the idea of completely rewriting from a blank page is kind of like daunting to me right now. I came to the conclusion that I'm going to save the rewrite, if that is actually what I decide to do, of changing the POV. Now I'm kind of second guessing that. I'm going to save that for draft 3 for a later draft. I think draft 2, I am going to use draft 1. I'm not going to just use draft 1 as an outline. I'm going to keep those words and just edit those words I already have. That'll work better for the master list that I have, and that'll give me time to brainstorm a little bit and kind of figure out exactly what I want to do. But if you have not, you may not know that my story starts out. The kind of prologue is the muses giving kind of an introduction to the world, to the kingdoms, to the series, which that is something, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I need to add that to my list, because I want that to be an intro to the series as a whole, but I don't think it fully does that. It feels more like an intro to the book itself, which I do want some of that, but I also really want it to be an intro. This is the first thing you're reading in this series, the first book, so I want it to be an intro to the series as a whole as well. So I think I need to kind of add that, rewrite that a little bit to make that the case. Okay, so I just added that to my kind of master list that I have in Notion. So yeah, the book opens up, the prologue is the muses. There are 5 of them, I think, and it is written like very like rhymey and kind of humorous. The idea came from the muses from the movie Hercules, the way that movie starts, and like the personality and like storytelling style of those muses. And I have them at the beginning of the book, and then they are in the middle of the book between parts 1 and part 2, and then they kind of sum up the book at the end of the book, or recap the book at the end of the book, and then lead into book 2, which I do need to make sure that that is actually true. I think it is, but I feel like I could maybe beef that up a little bit. But they also hint at the overarching theme and like commonality of the entire series, and so I just added that to my list to make sure that is actually happening. But I really like the idea of that. I love the muses at the beginning of the movie Hercules, and that is kind of like one of the very first things that kind of came into my mind when I started writing this series and had the idea for the series. So originally the book was written in 3rd person. Then I had the idea to change it to 1st person. I don't know if that creates a disconnect between, we start off with the muses kind of narrating and giving like a little sneak peek of what's coming, to then all of a sudden it changing and being the character's point of view from the the main character's point of view. It's no longer the muses narrating and telling the story. I don't know if that creates like a disconnect, if that doesn't make sense. It's a fairy tale retelling, right? So I want it to have fairy tale vibes. I want it to have kind of that kind of like language and feel to it and vibe. And one of my alpha ragers, what kind of sparked me deciding to hold off on rewriting into the different POV, is that one of my alpha ragers left a comment saying that she loves the first chapter because it feels like you're opening up a storybook and stepping into this fairy tale. Kind of how, like, if you've watched any of the like old Disney movies, like Sleeping Beauty does it, Snow White does it, I think Cinderella maybe does it, where the movie actually starts off with like a storybook and it opens and you see a few pages of the storybook and then you go into the story. She said that that's what it feels like, and that is exactly what I want and what I'm going for. And I don't know if changing, but she's reading the draft that is in 3rd person. I've only written 5 or 6 chapters in 1st person, so nobody's read that yet. So I don't know if by changing the POV I'm losing that that vibe and that feeling of being in a storybook, of being in a fairy tale. I'm trying to figure all of that out, but I think what I decided is that I'm going to hold off on changing the POV. So what I did was, the draft that I had started doing, like from a blank page, changing everything, rewriting everything into 1st person, I changed that to draft 3, and I think I'm going to come back to that later. Then what I did was create a duplicate, a copy of draft 1. I have draft 1 here. Those are the original words I wrote. Draft 2, this is where I'm starting to make the changes. I made those quick little grammatical and spelling changes. Draft 3 is where I'm going to keep the first person chapters that I've done so far. I don't know if I'll end up going with that or not, but I have them. I've kept them for now. So yeah, that's kind of what I decided to do for now. I'm going to keep going through that master list I have, and I'm going to make those edits in draft 2. And I'm going to go based off of my original draft, my original words, and just edit those, and that will be draft 2. Again, I don't know if that's right. I don't know if that's what everybody does. It might be dumb. I don't know, but that is what makes sense to me right now in this moment, and I feel good about it. One of the things that I really do want to work on, though, and that I think feels less daunting doing it this way, is that I think I need to beef up this draft. Original words that I wrote were only 45,000 words is a lot of words, but 45,000 words, which I don't think really is a full novel. I'm not sure what would be considered like a novella, but 45,000 words doesn't seem like a lot. So I think draft 2, I really need to like beef up. And I had been thinking about that when I was doing the first POV, and the idea of having to add another 20, 30 keywords, going from a complete rewrite, complete blank page, felt really daunting right now. I feel like I don't have that in me. But starting at 45,000 words and in doing it the other way, starting blank page, I'm basically starting over at 0 and trying to write 70 keywords. Doing it this way, I already have 45,000 words. I'm editing them, I'm adding to them. I'm not starting from 0 again, so that feels a lot better. So yeah, that was a very long-winded way of giving you guys an update and telling you what I've been working on. So yeah, that is basically going to be the end of this first video in this new series. Like I said, this is going to be a series that I'm going to hopefully kind of do throughout the rest of the summer. I don't know exactly what the summer's going to look like. Maybe I will finish draft 2 completely. Maybe I'll move into draft 3. Who knows? That's not really what I'm trying to focus on. I'm not trying to focus on, 50,000 words, whatever the case is. And I do know in July, Sarah Cannon will be doing another rough draft challenge. I don't know if I'll join that or not. I might. And maybe just wherever I am at that point, I'll try to write, 10K words in July or whatever. I don't know that I'll aim to do an entire book or to completely finish the draft like is typical for those kind of challenges. I don't know. We'll see. July is still a month and a half away, so we'll see how I feel then. But right now, my goal over the summer is to be consistent. To be consistent in my writing, even if it's just a little bit every day, or not even every day, because that's something else I've been thinking about a lot, is like my schedule and my writing habits and stuff, but I can talk about that in another video. Just be consistent. To not be perfect, to be consistent in my writing, to be consistent here on YouTube and post videos, consistent in my filming and editing, in my VA work, and just kind of get back to a place where I'm rebuilding those habits and routines that I had previously. So one of those was getting up early in the morning over the weekend and getting some work in, and I'm very glad that I did that this morning. So yeah, I feel like I am really ready to stop waiting to be in a perfect season, to keep waiting for the perfect day, because that is never going to happen. And if I keep waiting, I will just never write, and I will never reach my goals and do the things that I want to do and the things that make me happy and fulfill me creatively and the things that I'm passionate about. So yeah, I hope you are having a great day, a great week, whatever it is that you are seeing this. If you see this in the future, I hope you had a great summer. And yeah, I'm very excited to bring you guys along with me on this journey and to see where we end up at the end of this series. I already have 10 to 12 videos planned out for the next 10 to 12 weeks through the rest of the summer, like I said, and I'm very happy to see, and I'm very excited to see where we are at the end of those 12 weeks, where you guys are, what you guys have. Let me know what you're working on now so we can see where you guys are at the end of it. I would love to see your journey and progression as well down in the comments throughout the summer. And as always, thank you guys so much for being here. Please like this video, give it a thumbs up, leave me a comment down below. You guys know how helpful it is. If you haven't already subscribed and you want to follow along on this journey for the rest of the summer, I would love if you would subscribe and join me here. Happy writing, and I will see you guys in the next one.